you understand.
Hey everybody, I'm Tony Jones, and welcome to the Tony Jones Show.
There's just not enough people are willing to take the risk. It's just sort of a herd mentality, a lemming-like mentality. If you don't go with the flow, you're anti-American and therefore a suspect.
The Tony Jones Show, featuring punk, rockabilly, psychobilly, and Providence, Rhode Island's finest, starts right now.
He's a dangerous militia member, I hear. Oh, and there she blows.
My wife said I have had it out. Beth said I'm sick. Get out! So I stumbled down to Kelly's pub across the edge of town. And I told the boys my story, and we had another round. Oh, drink and fight. We'll drink and fight. And if I see a pretty girl, I'll sleep with her tonight. Yes, I'll drink and fight. And Mary McGregor, well, she was a pretty whore. She'd always greet you with a smile and never lock her door. But on the day she died, all the men in town did weep. For Mary McGregor finally got some sleep. Now we'll drink and fight. We'll drink and fight. And if I see a pretty girl, I'll sleep with her tonight. It's a drink and fight. Well, I once loved a girl, a child I'm told. I gave her my heart, and she gave me a cold. So now I sit standing here, out in the pouring rain. I'll stumble back to Kelly's pub, and cry away me pain. Oh, drink and fight. We'll drink and fight. And if I see a pretty girl, I'll sleep with her tonight. And I'll drink and fight.
Friends, the time for mediocrity and broadcasting is over. My name is Tony Jones, and you are tuned in to the Tony Jones Show, your destination for talk and rock, online at tonyjones.org, facebook.com/Tony Jones Show, on the almighty Twitter at Tony Jones NRI. Oh, so very fitting. I had to kick this week off with a little Dropkick Murphys, St. Joseph's, St. Patrick's Day, wrapping up, which I was saying if you follow us on Facebook. We did a little live video before we hit the airwaves today, and it's kind of like a lot of other things. St. Patrick's Day and St. Joseph's Day have turned into St. Joseph's Day and St. Patrick's Week, which has turned into St. Patrick's Day and St. Joseph's Day Month. And we, of course, are more than happy to celebrate it here on the Tony Jones Show with a little Dropkick Murphys. Some in-studio guests tonight. Yes, we've convened an Uber roundtable, and we're going to talk about all things Uber in just a bit, but before that, I do want to do a quick swing back to the music, and we have to pay tribute to the late, great Chuck Berry, who passed away yesterday at the age of 90. So I have 3 Chuck Berry covers coming to you from the Groovie Ghoulies. So this will be our Chuck Berry tribute here on the Tony Jones Show. 3 tunes for you and 3 tunes for the late, great Chuck Berry right here on the Tony Jones Show. Starting off with a tune that my band Tony Jones and the Cretin 3, we used to cover this one. It's Betty Jean here on the Tony Jones Show.
I love the way you talk, speaking little, saying a lot. I love the way you wow, looks like you're dancing but you're not. I love the way you love, you give it everything you got. Oh baby, I'm in love with you. Oh baby, I'm in love with you. Oh baby, could you love me too? Well, every time I knock, I hear you say come in. My heart goes boom boom, just to hold you again. I hear bells ding-a-ling,
Paying a tribute to the late, great Chuck Berry right here on the Tony Jones Show. One of my favorite bands, the Groovie Ghoulies, they put out an album quite a few years back called Buried Alive, and it was a tribute to Chuck Berry, long before, of course, everybody and their uncle was putting out tributes to Chuck Berry. So we got to give much respect to the Groovie Ghoulies for being ahead of the curve of putting out a tribute to Chuck Berry, who was born in 1926 and passed away just this March 18th, 2007. Maybelline, Rollover Beethoven, Rock and Roll Music, Johnny B. Good, and of course DJ Psycho Eddie, one of you and I's favorite songs, My Ding-a-Ling, all hits for the late great Chuck Berry, who just invented a different sound and kind of sparked everything, that I'm into as far as punk rock and rockabilly and psychobilly. So a tip of the hat here on the Tony Jones Show for Mr. Chuck Berry. From the Groovie Ghoulies, the album Buried Alive, you heard Betty Jean, All Aboard, and Come On. And that was 3 songs, and those 3 songs only came in at about 4 minutes. So just the ferocity of the Groovie Ghoulies and the ferocity of Chuck Berry all together on Buried Alive. The physical disc is actually hard to find. It's a little obscure, but of course, in these great times of technology, it is available on YouTube. So go ahead and check that out. And actually, we posted it up at facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. Perfect dovetail, speaking of technology, to bring me into tonight's in-studio guests. We have a full house here this evening, and they're all Uber/Lyft drivers. We have Everett, we have Doug, we have Joe, and of course we have the one and only DJ Psycho Eddie. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Hey.
So let's go around the room. How did you begin to become an Uber driver? How did you just get into it because you wanted some extra scratch? Were you interested in the side hustle, or did other things bring you into deciding I'm going to become an Uber driver?
You want to field that one first, Everett?
Yeah, I'll take that. To be honest with you, I'm always looking for something else, to make money. And my sister, who's started driving, and she was telling me about the money she was making in the short periods of time, and I was like, that sounds like something for me. So we checked it out, and I signed up for Uber, and it took them like 2 weeks to get back to me.
Wow.
And but when they did, I did, and it started in June. It's been good.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I was working a full-time job, and I'm like, it'd be cool to do this kind of on the side, get some extra money. I signed up, and literally they did a background check, and then I was good to go. And I started when all the colleges were graduating and stuff.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, so they were like, hey, come out, we'll pay you this much guaranteed an hour. And I said, sure. And then the rest is history.
Yeah, Joe here. Same with me. I started, a while back. Just wanted to make extra cash. It's a good way to make extra money. And been doing it ever since. Enjoying it, the highs and the lows.
Which is definitely something I want to talk about later down in the hour. I can see that there'd be quite a few highs, and I could see that there'd be quite a few lows in doing this. Now, DJ Psycho Eddie's here. He is the one guy I know that may have more jobs than I do. How did you get into all this?
Actually, it started as a joke. I was talking to a bunch of guys, and we're like, I do this for money, I do this. Now, already, I'm a sound tech. I've been DJing for 25 years. I've been working at my day job for about 15 years, and I do odds and ends. I would do, like, landscaping, anything for an extra buck. And they're like, why don't you have some free time? You could Uber drive for a couple hours every night in between going to your jobs and everything else you're doing. So that's how the joke started. And then I said, let me look into it, because I was actually wanted to do a piece on my radio show, kind of like what we're doing now, where I was in the trenches, saw what was going on, and I figured, that would be a good story. It's something that no one's covered, and you always hear the taxi cab drivers' side of the story.
Right.
We're robbing them. Then you hear the state complaining that we have more people on the road and all this other stuff. So I wanted firsthand experience of what it was like. Well, I started in January, and within the first 2 weeks, I was averaging a couple $100 a night.
$200?
Couple $100 a night. Well, I don't sleep much. Yeah. I have this little OCD thing going on, so I'll go out on a Friday or a Saturday morning. I'll leave the house at 4 in the morning. I'll come home for lunch, take a nap, and I'll be out till 2 o'clock the next morning.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I mean that's gonna do it.
Yeah, so since January, I've paid for airfare for 2 to Florida, hotel room for 2 nights in Florida, and a 9-day cruise. And that's just what I've made this year.
So since January of this
Since January of this year, I've made enough to do all that. Plus, I also have money in the bank left over for spending money, and that's just driving for Uber.
You know, and when I think about, you know, different side hustles and different pyramid schemes that friends of ours have been involved with over the years, you know, you've made more since the beginning of the year than folks who dedicate years and years to being in these pyramid schemes and don't make a dime.
I want to buy some insurance.
I was just thinking about that.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
And you know, we're big fans of local entertainment, local hospitality, and it seems to me that Uber and hospitality would kind of go hand in hand. I know if Uber existed back in the day, when I was a younger man, I could have saved myself some money and some trouble.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, how much does a DUI cost right now? First time,
it's like 10K.
Right, to like 10
to
grand.
12,000, depending on how much of a jerk
And
you
the
are.
lawyer,
when they
yeah,
pull you
yeah.
over.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, for a $20, $30 Uber ride from Providence to, I think it's North Kingston.
Yeah.
I've done that trip. I can't even tell you how many times. Narragansett. I've gone.
Narragansett's crazy.
I've gone from Providence to Boston several times in a weekend.
Yeah.
When we had the little fake snowstorm the other day, the Uber drivers were just killing it because the roads were fine, but everybody was calling Uber because the weather and the government said to stay home. So if you were an intrepid Uber driver during that storm of the century, which wasn't a storm, it seems like you could have made a killing.
Yeah, it was surging. I was watching the certain maps, you know.
I saw it hit like 4.6 5 times. So the surge, if anyone's wondering.
Is that like Mountain Dew?
Kind of like
surge?
No, well, the surge is how many times they're going to multiply your rate. So normally I think it's 80, for UberX, it's 80 cents a mile plus 17 cents a minute plus a booking.
$1.10 base.
$1.10 base. And then you get a booking fee that goes directly to Uber. Well, if it's snowing and it's really bad out and you have 2 times surge, you take all that, you multiply it by 2, and that's what your price is.
Right.
You know, if you have 1.5, you multiply it by 150%. I've seen it go as high as 5.5% at one night.
Wow.
And I was just loving it. I literally did a three block drive in downtown Providence and made $20.
Yeah, I know
love those. Yeah,
I know
those are
some
great.
folks that Uber back and forth to work every day, and it's still cheaper than if they bought a monthly parking pass down in Providence.
It's definitely beneficial for individuals to use Uber. One, it's ease of access.
Yeah.
Anyone can use it over the age of 18, of course. Whip your phone out, call a driver, get to who you gotta get to.
Yeah.
And also, it's affordability. You know, it's far cheaper than a normal taxi cab. And you got locals doing it. It's not strangers.
Yeah.
No one from out of town. It's local guys and gals taking you where you got to go, safe and sound.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking before we got on the air. Joe, you also do Lyft. Has that been beneficial? You like Uber a little bit more than Lyft, or?
So I started Lyft recently. So I may not be the best person, but I like it and I don't like it for some reasons. I prefer doing Lyft in Providence or Rhode Island. It's much more better. When you go to Boston, I'm not a fan of Lyft Line.
Yeah.
And that's if you don't know, Lyft Line is the same as Uber Pool, where you may get multiple passengers going in different directions, all in one ride.
Yeah.
You get one request.
Fill them up.
And basically put in the car with different people who may not know each other, but you got to take them all to different locations. And that can be a hassle sometimes, but the customers love it because it's beneficial to them.
Yeah.
But the drivers, we don't really care for it that much.
You know, I just started driving Lyft actually this month, and I've been doing it on the side, and I found success with it. You know, in the same usual spots, you know, but not as, you know, if somebody would ask me which one you would do, I'd say I haven't given Lyft enough experience, but you know, but volume is better, and Uber's got more volume.
Now,
I agree with that. Uber definitely has more volume. Even though I wasn't masked, I put the Uber app and the Lyft app on, and Uber would ping right away, whereas Lyft might take a while to actually.
Now, if you go to rifreedoradio.org, which many of you are listening, in that bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a Lyft link, and that link has not made me a dime yet. So that's my that's my 2 cents about Lyft. So yeah, if you're thinking about driving, click on that bad boy. You know, help me out. We're gonna get back to the music now. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more on the Uber/Lyft roundtable here. I'm gonna ask these guys about what their first few rides are, because I can imagine signing up and then actually doing it is a very unique experience. So we'll get to that in a bit. But before that, we're going to have a little live Juicehead right here on the Tony Jones Show. It's Lorraine up next for you. Coming out of a little Vague Perception right here on the Tony Jones Show, a band that Doug was in or filled in for. Lift Me Up, the name of that track. They're gonna be playing their first show in 3 years on February 22nd at Firehouse 13. Rock Out for Leukemia, excuse me. Tony Jones and the Cretin 3 will be opening up a little bit earlier in the night. Vague Perception will be there. Johnny Earthquake headlining the night. So we'll have more about that here on the show as the months progress, but mark that down on the calendar, and you can see a little Vague Perception. Before that, a little live Juicehead, of course, off of Misfits Records. We heard Lorraine. Tony Jones here. You were tuned in to the Tony Jones Show. And I have to mention, because I didn't get to it a few weeks ago, I was the first ever inductee to the 990WBOB.com Hall of Fame. So it was quite a few weeks ago, and I've been meaning to talk about it each and every week, and I kept forgetting. So I just want to thank all those guys over there for the kind first ever member of their Hall of Fame. And then on that note, if you go to motifri.com/2017music, you can vote for Tony Jones and the Cretin 3 as Best Punk Band, and you can click off a vote for DJ Psycho Eddie for Best Nightclub DJ. Now, DJ Psycho Eddie, I remember last year you said that if you won, that you would be throwing a party. Can we hold you to that again this year?
Yeah, if they go out of their way. In fact, it's a SurveyMonkey website, https://www.surveymonkey.com/r/FRRVGMP.
Good God, man. I like mine better.
Yeah, Motif Magazine 2017 music. But yeah, if they go there, they vote for me, and I take top honors for that one. I will throw one hell of a barn burner.
And there's just, I mean, if you look through the survey there are just so many great people to vote for, and friends of both of our shows, friends of Rhode Island Free Radio. So go ahead and pick through that, and consider voting for Tony Jones and the Cretin 3, and consider voting for DJ Psycho Eddie if you want to have a party. Any excuse to throw a party is a good excuse. And this is your second year up, right?
Yeah, this is my second year being nominated through Motif. This year I was also nominated by Projo.
That's right, yeah.
That turned to be nothing as well.
Now, I'm. There is a huge. You have a huge family support, and I don't mean family like on Federal Hill. Like I hear from
technically it's both.
Well, that too, yeah. I hear from Vasellas all the time that they listen to the show, they listen to Rhode Island Free Radio. So you think you could just cook the books with your family, but also have them vote for me while they're at it?
I see what you did there.
You see, I've already put out the messages to just my family, and that alone was about 30 emails. So you already have about 30 votes linked in.
And it's one vote per email, so that's all I'm not saying, but I'm just saying it's one vote per email.
Trust me, we're Italian. We know how to work our way around these rules. I personally have 4 emails. My wife has 2 or 3. So, yeah, trust me, there's a minimum of about 30 votes for both of us.
So that party's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And the actual award show is going to be April 23rd at the Met, which, we went to last year and had a good time. So
well, I had a few beers.
We'll be, be talking about that. We'll be harassing you each and every week up until it's time to expire the votes.
I've already voted, so
get a few more emails. Hook us up. We are having an Uber roundtable this week right here on the Tony Jones Show. Everett is here, Doug, Joe, DJ Psycho Eddie. So we talked about how you got into it. You needed a little side hustle, which everybody does now, no matter how much you're working. When you take it from theory into practice, go around the room. Let's talk about the first time you actually went out on your first few Uber calls, for lack of a better word. Were you nervous? Were you like a little, nervous about going out there and actually doing it?
Well, I'm going to field this one first. Before I do, however, Joe's wife is listening in. I wanted to say, hey, how you doing? Thanks for listening. My first couple of rides, I've always been around the public, so for me it wasn't that scary.
Right.
The first day, I think they were taking it easy on me because I had like a couple of nice long rides, up into Mass and into Attleboro, and bounced around. And of course, I got the Suburban anyway. So as soon as you get me up on the highway, I'm a happy camper. because it just stops sucking gas that way.
Yeah,
Land
drives
yacht.
itself almost.
Pretty much.
Get in the back seat.
So, but I that first day had something gone wrong. I may not have stuck it out as well, but the first day I was out, I also made I want to say about $150.
Yeah, that helps.
And I was only out there for like 6 hours.
XL.
Well, XL, X, and in Mass I was getting SUV as well, which, I mean, if you want to spend the extra money, I will be more than happy to take it from you.
Yeah.
So
I, for obvious reasons, always call XL, and sometimes it's hard to get an XL in certain areas.
I've waited up to like almost 20 minutes to get an XL to
Right.
pick me up.
Because if someone shows up in a smart car, I'm screwed.
Yeah, the Hyundais, the Priuses, they do serve their purpose, and if you're a normal sized person, once you get to the rotund, pleasingly plump, borderline giant, you're not going to fit into those.
No.
What about you guys? Your first rides?
Hi. My first ride, I signed up almost 2 years ago. I was at work, and I had signed up for a couple weeks already. I hadn't taken a ride yet because I was a little scared. Anyway, I left the job. At the time, I was working in Cranston. And my first call was the Citizen Bank over there in Cranston, Garden City.
Yeah.
Yep.
For a gentleman going to a business guy, you know. I picked him up. I said, hi, my name is Joe. How you doing? He said, I'm fine. I pressed the button on the phone, and I took him over to the hotel near Providence Mall, which was my first ride. It was eons ago compared to now. But it was fine. I mean, it was definitely a unique experience because I've never really driven a stranger before that way, you know. Family and friends, yada, yada. But I think it was about like maybe $15 or something like that. It wasn't like a lot of money for that trip. But it was fun. It was nice. And then from that point on, I would just log in every once in a while, just keep the account active. It wasn't until about a year ago that I really started to go heavy. Every Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with my main nights. I'm working the college scene.
Yep.
But it was fun, and I enjoyed it.
Wait, did you say $15 from Garden City to downtown?
I think it was. I don't remember exactly, but it was like
must have been surging.
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like a big amount of money, but I only reason I remember that it was a little bit because we did our taxes.
Yeah.
And I had to search all the way back to history.
Oh,
To
God.
see what it was, but yeah, it was definitely fun. It was different.
Yeah, my first ride was nice and simple, man. I picked up this lady over somewhere in Cranston, like right on the Cranston-Coventry line. Drove her to a mechanic in Coventry. She was picking up a car real quick. Nice old lady. Gave me a $2 tip. You know, I was like, sweet. I'm like, I hope everybody tips. Yeah, that was a letdown. But
That's for sure.
The simple answer was no.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, tip your Uber driver.
Tip them. Come on.
Definitely.
If everybody gave like a buck or two, like just a cup of coffee, man.
Yeah.
You multiply that by like 10 trips. That's $20. Guess what? You just gave me gas for the night.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Right,
Yeah, that's
that's
big.
You tip everybody else. So
Right. Yeah, for me it was pretty standard. I logged on, got a hit. But what was unusual about it is first guy I picked up was a guy I went to high school with, and I hadn't seen it forever and a day. Grew up in the same neighborhood and stuff. So we had a laugh about it, and I took him to a bar somewhere in Warwick, down near the Warwick Mall, and we had a laugh. He's like, "I tip you, but I only got 100 on me."
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Pass it over.
No problem, man. That was it. But that was it.
So I know you get the profile of kind of who you're picking up, but I mean that doesn't help much. Do you know where their destination is before you pick them up, or no? So you don't know if they're going to Boston or
No
Coventry, or
Nope.
and I assume that's because there'd be a lot less rides if
Well,
you
it's by
knew they were
design
going to Boston.
because then drivers could be selective.
Yeah.
They could say, "Oh, I don't want to take this guy to the laundromat. I want to take the guy to the airport."
Yeah.
Or whatever like
Yeah.
that. So.
But I mean, on the flip side, it kind of stinks too on our end because there's been nights where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop after this next ride. It's like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm think, all right, I'm picking this lady up. Oh, maybe she's at a house party. Oh no, you're going to Logan Airport.
Right.
So now I'm home at 4 in the morning versus 2 in the morning.
Right.
It's like
I had that happen the other night.
Yep.
I've had it.
I was like, all right, I'll do one more ride. It's like 12 o'clock. I wanted to call it early one night. It's 12 o'clock on a Friday night. Okay, guy and a girl get in, get underway. Oh, we're going to Boston. Okay. But first we have to stop in Braintree to drop her off.
Get out.
Oh,
Then when she gets out, the guy's like, well, I'm going to change the address. I'm not going to Boston. I'm going to my girlfriend's house, which is almost on the New Hampshire line. I didn't get home till 4 o'clock in the morning, and here I am hoping for an early night.
Yeah. No, right.
So
I had that happen once before too. It was last night. I was at the piano bar, sitting in the parking lot.
Yep.
And it was about 20 or 12. Picked up a guy over at that gentleman's club over there, right
The
nearby.
Desire?
Yeah. And
actually, there's 3 of them right in the road. Desire.
Wrong round table.
Wonderland,
Wrong
Cheaters,
round
Zebra.
table.
Sorry.
Cheaters, right? The old Cheaters.
Right on the
Cheaters
pink eye
is,
strip.
Wild Zebra. Then you got Wonderland.
Oh yeah.
And second floor over Desire is Lust. And
What's in the back room?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
That's a whole different app. That's the squeegee app.
My virgin ears, guys.
Yes, this man's wife's listening. Let's clean it up a little.
My wife married me when I was still working as a DJ at a strip club.
Oh, there you
And
go.
she married me, so I happen to be like old hat with this.
Oh, it's a pro.
Well, I'm going to swing back to the music, and then we come back. Of course, we're going to talk about what you all want to hear about. People vomiting, people getting in fist fights, different things that were offered up as tips. So I'll ask these guys to really think back while we're listening to the music to the craziest of their rides throughout their time being a driver. But before that, we're going to have a double shot of some Blindside Thunder. This one is My Baby Loves to Dance. You heard it here on The Tony Jones Show.
I like when I can pick up the stripper.
One of our favorite bands around here, coming out of 2 from Blindside Thunder, Rock and Roll Junkie, the name of that one. Then before that, My Baby Loves to Dance. Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. On the almighty Twitter at Tony Jones in RI. Be sure to go to TonyJones.org and RIFreeRadio.org. Either one of those websites, if you click on the contact page, if you'd like to be in studio for us, or if you have music for us, that's how you get in touch. You can be here. We'll get your music in rotation right here on RI Free Radio. Big Uber roundtable tonight, but before we get back to the Uber stories, which I cannot wait to hear, our own DJ Psycho Eddie, he's DJing a huge event next weekend. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. I'm doing the Providence Tattoo and Music Fest number 3. This is the 3rd incarnation. I've done all 3 years. Basically, there's going to be 5 different tattoo shops set up, tattooing on site, while there's about 25 bands rotating between 2 stages. It's going to be nuts. It's been nuts every year. Bury Your Dead and Revocation are touring through. Blood Riders, if you remember the band Kilgore, Jay Burnt, lead singer, is going to be his band Blood Riders is playing Bloodline Theory, Death Rattle, Apollo's Resurrection, Shred of Salvation. I mean, there's just so many bands. All really good bands from the first to the last. You just can't beat it. Plus, Boneheads is going to set up in location. Yeah. Gotta love me some chicken wings on it. There's going to be a brackish fetish show by Stitch Rafferty. She's going to be putting on. She did one Tattoo and Music number 2. Doc Finnegan's Sideshow Circus will be performing sideshow stunts and the MCs for the event. Tattoo shops will include Suited Devils Inc., Irish Rose, Heavy Mental Tattoo, Great Island, and Dharma Inc.
Now, I was wondering this when we were at Terracon a few weeks ago. What happens if the end of the day hits and your tattoo isn't done yet? Which happened to a young lady at Terracon. I mean, we were like, pack it up, bringing our stuff outside, and they were still tattooing this girl, and like she wasn't done yet.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, the event itself, the last band goes on at 10:45. 10:45. Bury Your Dead. So you have until 2 o'clock in the morning to vacate. So they might do like a last call for tattoos. If your tattoo takes longer than X amount of time, you're not getting it, whatever the case may be. But I'm pretty sure that if they don't finish it or if they don't have enough time, they'll carry on until either they're done or you're going to have to do a second seating.
Now, right next door, We Be Loving Us also, some Shelter Arcade Bar. If you haven't been in there yet, to get in touch with your inner nerd, you got to check that place out. Any nerds in my listening audience, or any 80s kids, really, check out Shelter Arcade Bar right next to FET. Just like going back in time.
You can actually...
Awesome.
There is an entrance from the backside of the ballroom at FET, goes directly into the bar at Shelter.
That's so awesome.
Oh, that's perfect. Bunch of pinball wizards in there.
I'm telling you, my inner nerd was touched heavily. It was almost a restraining order. I touched it so much.
Now, if there was only a third door that went straight from Shelter to Oneyville System Hot Wieners, I mean, you would never have to leave.
Put in a tram for that.
a fireman pole. So, unfortunately, we're starting to run out of time, but I'm sure everybody listening wants to hear, and I know I want to hear, your craziest story as an Uber driver. Now, I know, Ed, you've only been doing it for a little while. So what's the craziest thing that's happened so far while you're out there? What have you seen? What have you done? What has happened in this crazy area?
Anything crazy?
Yes.
Because my wife is listening,
and our lawyers are
story, and I'm sticking to
our lawyers are standing by.
But fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you looked at it, I do have a repertoire with strip clubs. Just because when I started DJing 20 whatever years ago, I was a DJ at a strip club. So I picked up a girl from Wonderland, bringing her home to somewhere in East Providence, and we had,
because all strippers live in East Providence.
Well, no, some of them live in Providence too, over at Regency, but I'll leave that alone. So this girl asked me, hey, we are not even a mile into it. If you stop the trip right now and get me home, I will perform an unspeakable act, we'll call it.
She'll detail your car.
That's not that hard. I have it done once a week. But no, she had offered me a sexual favor, and not for nothing, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've been going for, I can't tell you.
Right.
The only thing I'm going to be able to do is prove to her how tired I am by falling asleep. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to keep it running. You could pay me and tip me later, and have a nice night.
Yeah. In other words, she wasn't your type.
Happily married man.
That's it. My wife, a well-fed dog doesn't stray.
That's what they say, right?
Deb's a good woman.
And if you've ever had my wife's calzones,
Yeah.
and that's not a euphemism, my wife makes a calzone that is to die for. What about you guys? Any?
I guess I'll go next. Some similar strip club kind of story. I'm picking up from Cadillac Lounge. It was last year, the summertime. This gentleman comes in the car and says, "Hey, I have a friend coming. Here's $20 cash to wait for me till she comes to the car." I'm like, "Sure, $20. I turn the meter on. Let's do it." So I'm waiting. He come again to the car. He's like, "She's still coming. Whatever." He said, "Just hold off a minute. I'm coming. So anyway, long story short. My wife's listening. So a woman comes to the car with him, very attractive, all the right places, very attractive. Comes to the car, they get in the car, and while we're driving to his apartment, which is I guess I don't want to say it on the air, but it's in Providence, downtown Providence, ritzy apartment. Like he has money.
Yeah.
They're in the car haggling prices on how much he's going to spend for the evening with her. It was a whole big thing. I mean, to the point where she wanted to smoke marijuana. He was offering. She was like, "No, I want mine, not yours." We went to this house in Providence, some weird, back street. While I'm sitting there, I have my engine running. I'm in drive, ready to go in case 5 guys come out with guns blazing.
Yeah.
I bring him to the house. She's like, "Oh, it doesn't have anything," so we go back to the apartment. From the last one I remember, the pricing was around $350, $400, cheap, But yeah, that was my crazy story with dealing with that. And other stuff is like with vomit and whatnot. That's fine, but yeah, people are crazy.
Oh, I got the craziest story was it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, Whiskey Wednesday. You
all right?
No. It was at Whiskey Republic. It was like a 4.9 surge. I got this XL ride. I'm souped. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make like $30 on a $2 trip. So I sit there. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. Next thing I know, one girl gets in the car. And all I hear is like, Wendy's. I'm like,
I think I love you.
You are not my ride. So I'm like, shoot, what am I going to do? I can't kick her out. She's like annihilated. I got daughters. God forbid this ever happens. So I'm like, I'll just let her chill here until, my ride comes. Ride cancels. Now I got this stuttering wildebeest in the front seat of my car.
And she's in the front seat.
Yeah, she's in the front seat. I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like, somehow I got her to I don't know, she got an address out. It was just between the start. I decoded it, it was like those Ovaltine decoder rings. I just figured it out. So it was that street over near PC, that main stretch.
It's Eaton.
Eaton Street was 44 Eaton Street, was it? So I'm driving, and she's talking to herself. And not only is she talking to herself, she's responding to herself. Oh, no! In between the slurs, and she's fighting with herself. She's arguing. Next thing you know, I'm right around the corner, and she's arguing with me. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And next thing I know, I get down the road, and she just opens the door as I'm driving. It just kind of rolls out.
Oh!
Bye, birdie.
Yeah.
No
And I'm just like, all right, have a good night, honey. And so at that point, I had turned the app off. She got a free ride out of me, you know. That was just pure karma.
So no tip?
That's great.
No tip. And now on the flip side, there was another night. I picked these girls up from Hanley's.
Yeah.
So they
Roofie
get in.
Central.
Yeah.
Oh.
They were going to Bryant, but this dude was outside the car. I guess he was trying to hit on him all night. And he's annoying me. She's like, this guy's been bothering us all night. I'm like, oh, yeah? I rolled down the window. I had, I think, a baby powder. I just fucking hit him in the face with it.
He was antiqued.
Baby powder?
Yeah.
That's like black.
I got 6 kids, man, so there's always something like And I sped away off to Brian. I went.
That's awesome.
That's better than mace, that's for sure. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't, you know what? Knock on wood, I have no stories to tell. So
That means next time you drive, something really nuts is going to happen.
To this happening, you guys cursed me. I'm knocking on wood right now.
Well, unfortunately, we're just about out of time. Thank you, guys. This was awesome. You know, I've been on the border of driving for Uber, and I think after tonight, I really want to do it, but not Lyft because their little link isn't making me any money. Thank you, guys, again. Great show. Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show, TonyJones.org, RIFreeRadio.org, on Twitter at Tony Jones in RI. Check us out each and every week, and of course, check us out in podcast form. I'm going to leave you with the Midnight Creeps. Just Can't Get It Right, the name of this one. Bye, everybody. Bye.